Five, four, three, two, one. Let's do this thing. Brand new episode of the Mike Herrera podcast starting right now. Thank you guys for joining me. Moments like these vinyl, I just signed a crap load of them. Both the split color and the haze look amazing, but I don't need to see them anytime soon. But yeah, I've been signing the covers. You're going to be happy when you see these. If you didn't get one yet, mxpeaks.com. We still have some, so thank you so much. If you did order one, they should be going out this week. And the beautiful thing is these are coming in early. Usually you get stiffed on a pre-order for vinyl, and people have to come back and go, well, shucks, the record plant is taking their sweet time with this, and we're going to send them a very, very concerned email and phone call. And, well, in this case, we didn't have to do that. They got it done early. We were expecting August. Here it is, early June. And it'll be on its way to you guys this week, next week. So look for that soon. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And remember, we're not Amazon.com. We have one employee. It's my mom. My mom sends out all the merch in the MXPX merch store. So much love. Shout out to my mom, Michelle, for working so hard on sending out these orders. And thank you guys for making the orders. MXPX.com is a lovely place because of you. All right. A couple more things and we'll get to my guest. MXPX Super Challenge playlist has been helping so much. Thank you so much. Anybody that's been putting it on while they work, while they do chores, while they cook, dinner, lunch, whatever. It really is helping. And keep listening to Worries. That's the first song on the playlist. It's helped fix our algorithm issues. It's great. Anybody, you can find the MXPX Super Challenge playlist on mxpx.com. There's a link, but also it's on Spotify and Apple Music. If it's on, if you have something other than that, you're going to have to just take a look at the playlist, which you can look at it on mxpx.com. Don't stop listening to your favorite albums, but if you want to help us out, this actually gets us paid more per stream than any of the albums that aren't included in this playlist. If you want to keep in touch with us, we'd love to keep in touch with you. Text MXPX to the number 31996, and we'll keep you updated on releases, live streams. Maybe we'll do a surprise something or other. We'll send you a quick note. We don't send spam. We don't do it for things that aren't super important. We've got an email list that we also don't spam, but we send a couple things, a month, news items, new merch items, things like that. If you mxpeaks.com, you can sign up for our mailing list, and that helps us keep in touch with you, and we respect you and love you guys, so we wouldn't ever sell your information. That makes me so mad. Like, I am so against all that kind of crap. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed last week with Blag, Dahlia from the Dwarves. That was a fun time. I'm going to release the Life in Quarantine collection as a collection later in June, because we spent 9 weeks together, April and May. Every Friday I did that show on Facebook live, and so many of you tuned in every week, and it was so much fun. So thank you so much. This week there wasn't one, and there was a void in my heart. So instead, MXPX actually put up Left Coast Live. It's never been available to the public, only to those that ordered it. And now it's finally, after years, it was filmed in 2015, and it's finally available to the public. The audio's been available to the public. You can stream this on any of the streaming sites, Left Coast Live. But now you can watch it on the MXPX YouTube or the MXPX Facebook. I think it's up. So please go subscribe to MXPX YouTube and Facebook. We'd appreciate that. And helps us get the word out more on punk rock and on keeping our positive message alive. I appreciate you guys for that. All right, my guest, Emily Whitehurst, a.k.a. Agent M. She's known as being the singer for the pop-punk band Tsunami Bomb, and then the action design and currently survival guide. So she is prolific. She writes a lot of songs and works on a lot of projects, and she's my good friend. She's a fellow creative. She joins me on the podcast to explore a lot of serious subjects. We talk a lot about COVID and how it's affecting the community. And we talk a lot about some fun subjects too, about Emily's love for baking, DIY nails, taking online classes, learning how to do what you do better. I loved that about her, is she's still taking online classes to learn how to do her job better. And not a lot of musicians that I know are willing to do that. So that was very cool. We talk about all the many hours that go into her Patreon page. She works really hard on it for her patrons, and how she chooses projects. And we even get to talk a little bit about how she sings on the latest MXPX song, Worries. So I think you'll enjoy this one. It's a great conversation.
Don't you ever lose heart, keep the fire burning ablaze. And don't call me crazy, it's just the way I was raised. There's moments like this that I'm gonna miss when I'm dead and gone.
I'm in the dark here a little bit.
Is it storming there?
Yeah, storm literally just rolled through 15 minutes ago. Started hitting pretty hard, and then the lights started flickering. About 10 minutes ago, the power went out, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I went back inside and gathered some batteries and some things, and it's working. I'm recording you, and the phone call obviously works, so it sounds pretty decent. Obviously, it's not storming in San Antonio. How is it?
It's hot and probably humid, but I've just been inside all day so far. Yeah, but I saw that Central Texas was supposed to have, you guys might have some crazy hail, is what I read.
Yeah, it's been like this. We've had a few storms roll through the last few days.
Yeah, we've had a little bit, but I think not as much as you.
Yeah, last time we talked, it was the first time we had talked since you'd been on the podcast, to clarify. First time we had talked on the podcast since you'd lived in Texas. But you've been here a minute now, and I have too, really. But do you feel like Texas is different during this whole lockdown than a lot of other places you see on the news?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like Texas is, at least my experience is that it's a lot more casual, which is I like that. I mean, that's one thing that I kind of like about Texas in general, or at least San Antonio, or just kind of the attitude of people here is just a lot less stressed out, I feel like.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is nice.
I feel that. I like that too. I don't think there's any reason to. I mean, sure, be cautious, do your thing, but like, let's not freak out. Yeah, freaking out's not good for anybody. So I guess we should just get to, I mean, we don't have to spend the whole time talking about this current situation that we're all in, but we could, I'd love to hear, what you've been up to, how your time has started, and then maybe it's morphed as it's gone on, dragged into multiple months of a different lifestyle. But has anything changed for you? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I to talk about like the whole arc of how everything has gone, I definitely, in the very beginning, well, it's so funny because last I saw you was like right when everything was, it was that leap day. It was February.
That's true.
29th. So, and, we were just starting to hear like, oh, Orange County's locking down, or Orange County's just gone into emergency state and blah, blah, blah. And at that time I was kind of like, okay, whatever. Like I think, I don't know. It doesn't seem so scary. And then quickly over, a week or so, I went through a whole range of like, well, I guess maybe I should, prepare for my own death, that whole, that kind of thing. And, just like, feeling anxious and scared and stressed out. And, I have asthma too, which, they were saying was a factor. So that kind of added to it and stuff. And then I try to analyze myself a lot. kind of, especially when I'm not happy or when things aren't good for me. So I just decided to figure out what was really causing me the most stress and just avoid it. And it worked, and I felt a lot better after that.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into the details of what that stress is, but how can somebody else do that? Because a lot of people just don't have the idea. They have this stress, they're dealing with it, but they just don't know what to do. It's like when you haven't been around an animal, you don't know to like not put your hand in the dog's face, like stuff like that. Right.
Well, for me, the first thing, which I don't know how many people are still, it's hard to say how many people are still looking, but I noticed after a little bit, after, I don't know, a week or so, that looking at that Johns Hopkins map just stressed me out. Like every time I looked at it, I was just like, the numbers are going up and the red dots are getting bigger.
Just all the stats on the pandemic and all,
yeah, just that map that shows it's like
I haven't
updated.
Been watching it.
Oh yeah, well that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I did it first. I guess I kind of like was paying attention a little bit, and that at some point I was just like, my God, they keep changing it. It's just like the news cycle in general, where one time on the evening news you hear broccoli is good for you, and then the next night it's bad for you. You're just like, what? Broccoli?
Yeah,
really?
Exactly.
So I feel like the more time I can spend away from it, the more solid some of the anecdotal evidence will become, and then the actual scientific stuff will take have more time to become solid as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it right there. Just,
I'm no scientist, but
just. But yeah, just like
so that was causing your stress then.
Yeah, I mean, kind of trying to stay up to date on it and seeing what was happening, and having a lot of people in California and stuff too. I wanted to see how their numbers were, check up on them, and it just is like it doesn't help me, and I'm not a doctor or a medical worker, so all I could do is read the numbers and interpret them myself, and it was not helping me at all. It was only making me stressed and worried. So I stopped doing that, and I don't. Every so often I check to see what's happening in the coronavirus news, but in general I just live.
Yeah, I think keeping your immune system strong is important.
Yeah.
Just keeping healthy. Obviously if you have asthma or something similar to that, there's probably, I don't know what else you can do. I mean, do you still exercise, right? Or can you?
Yeah, I exercise. Yeah. No, it's not even that bad. My asthma is not that bad.
It's not like you're like having to go to the hospital once a month. Some kids that have bad asthma end up,
yeah,
to the hospital a bit.
Yeah, I used to have it. I used to have it a lot worse as a kid. I didn't have to go that often, but I did have to go to the hospital sometimes. I used to have asthma attacks, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, like if you've had something that long, and there's obviously a lot of exceptions to this, but when it comes to like allergies, like I was allergic to a bunch of things when I was a kid, and now I'm just mildly allergic to like say grass, dust, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like it used to bother me so much, and now it doesn't. It's probably because your body has sort of built up some strength against it, and I wonder if your body's probably done that with asthma over the years. Yeah,
I wonder that too, because like I definitely have some strong lungs, like I know I can breathe really, like my lungs are pretty strong.
You're
so they might have gotten muscular.
You're a singer.
Yeah.
Does that ever come into play when you were singing, or?
My asthma? No, I mean, I keep an inhaler with me generally. So, I mean, there are times where if I'm having, and it's affected by my allergies too, like seasonal allergies. So if I'm having that a lot, then I would just take my inhaler before playing a show or before singing. A lot of times I even take it before I record something, just because I can breathe all the way deeply if I take it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah. breathing
my
deeply.
Breathing the air. My buddy, a friend of mine, he's an ex-Navy SEAL. He works as security like, kind of bigwig type people, but like to get into the SEALs, he had asthma as a kid, and he had asthma while he was in training, in boot camp and Hell Week and all of that. He had asthma, and at some point he was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And he somehow just literally mentally willed himself not to have asthma attacks.
Oh, really?
So like, yeah, craziness.
That's amazing.
But, to hear the story, he basically was just like, he was worried that he was going to get disqualified because of the asthma. But the asthma didn't hold him back from training and running. He ran and he did his thing. And every now and again it would come up. And which I'm sure at the level that Navy SEALs are at, the level that it's coming up for him is insane. But yeah, I mean, the amount of willpower, like those guys are just, they have no sense of quit. Like that's how you get into the Navy SEALs is you don't quit. You drown. They drown you. Uh-huh. You're in the ocean until you're freezing, until you pass out blue from hypothermia, and then they pull you out. Like that's like the absolute extreme. So like to hear that almost doesn't even surprise me from an ex-Navy SEAL. But hearing you singing, you're great. I mean, you're great. So asthma is not holding you back. But yeah, there could be a lot of stress there with just the not knowing how bad this COVID thing really can hit certain people. It seems to not hit most people very hard, or at all.
Yeah.
But then you get those just, you never know, perfectly healthy people getting hit really hard with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, luckily I'm not, my anxiety period over my own health was not very long. Mm-hmm. It was like a day or two.
Yeah. My theory to that is that it's like different strains, possibly, like how the colds have different strains.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, people's bodies are different. They're going to react differently to things. But so, now that you've gotten past all that, are you?
Is anything different?
What's your day to day?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I could say all the new stuff definitely distracted me for a little while, but then I just kept on going with what I was doing before, which was working on my Patreon, getting everything, because I've got my Patreon has a lot of regular rewards, like every month or that are timed.
What do you do on there mostly?
So
and how do you get there?
It's patreon.com/SRVVLGD, which is just survival guide without vowels. Or you can just search for survival guide on there. And so every month I at one point I had a reward where people could request a cover song that I would record and release it to all my patrons.
Valuable.
Yeah. And that tier filled up really quickly. So I'm still, that was like forever ago, and I'm still, because I ended up having 35 covers to do.
Whoa. So, jeez, that is insane.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought it through and then especially after I started working on them, because I was like, well, maybe I'll be able to just knock these out, But no.
It's never that easy.
No, that's not the case. If I want to do anything else in life, then no.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting you say that, and I definitely will continue with what else you got. But like, it's very easy for artists to make up work for other people to do, or for yourself, not realizing how hard it's going to be or how much work it really is. And anything involving performing, and then you include, do you do audio or is it video? What's the deal?
It's audio, just an audio cover, but at first I was also doing behind the scenes video of it as well. Which I have since like a few months ago. I think it was actually in January. I decided I'm gonna not, because the main thing is the cover itself, but the video itself takes a few days, to like edit and get together, and so
brain power.
Yeah. Yeah, so I cut that
So
out.
you're streamlining. You're using this time to work on your business. Basically, I hate to say business, but like whatever your business is, which is being creative. But that's I think the most important thing for creative people to do is to get everything in line that you've wanted to do, but you couldn't because you're too busy with shows or regular life.
Yeah.
Like use this as an excuse to really push yourself into exploring the ideas that you kind of had, but just never took the time to explore.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, and also one thing, I mean, a side note, I guess, that is kind of an interesting byproduct of the virus for me was the meal planning, because it's so time consuming for me. I like to eat home cooked food. It's just it's just better for you. So in general, and saves money and everything. And so I've really I've actually saved myself a lot of time, I think, by doing better at meal planning and like sitting down and being like, okay, I'm going to try to get, a month's worth of meals in one grocery trip. And, then I'm spending a lot less time, going and running errands and figuring out what to eat. Cause it just is, I hadn't really thought about it until this, just like how much time I spend trying to figure out what to eat and going to get it. So that has freed up more time for me. It's nice.
So, okay, let me ask you something, because I was under the impression that you enjoy cooking, baking, things like that, making food. That's still true, right? You still enjoy that? So like this is...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's just the planning part that's kind of cumbersome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have the things in your kitchen, you're ready to rock, right? So let's talk about food.
Okay.
Let's continue on this. This is fun. Obviously I love food.
Yeah, I love food also.
How did you... Why do you love? What is it that you love about making food? What's your favorite things to bake or cook or whatever it is?
Well, I love baking a lot. I love baking cookies probably the most.
Why is that? What's so special? I've done it, by the way. It's great.
Yeah.
Is it because you love the cookies or is it the process?
It's both. I think partially, it's probably because I grew up always helping my mom making cookies. My mom always had cookies, like homemade cookies for us in a cookie jar. And I would help her every so often. And so I just continued that throughout my adult life as well. Not really continued that. I don't constantly have cookies in my own house because I would eat them all.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So... but I think I also love making them because it's different from like a pie or a cake where I can try one when they come out to see if it's good. Like that's one thing I noticed about like if I'm going to a party or something or making someone a birthday cake, you can't really bust into it to make sure it's cooked all the way or that it tastes good even beforehand. So you have to kind of just hope that it's good when you bring it to the party. Whereas with cookies, you can be like, okay, these aren't even good. Or, that doesn't really happen very often, but it's just more peace of mind, I guess, to know.
1-0 cookies. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So that's your favorite thing. What's your favorite type of cookie? Because this matters.
Oh, yeah, that's really hard.
What's your go-to? What do you make a lot?
One of my go-tos is chocolate cookies with peanut butter chips.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. I love anything that's chocolate and peanut butter. So that is definitely one of my tops. I also, it's not quite a cookie, but a really easy go-to that I do is a brown butter, salted Rice Krispie treat. That's a really good one. Doesn't quite count as baking, but...
Did you ever, when you were on tour, did you ever make anything? Like... Was there any way to do that? Because like we had a bus and we had a microwave.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we just like bake brownies in a microwave.
I did do that a few times, but I was always really disappointed. Every time I do that, I'm just like, this isn't even good.
Well, ours were special, so they were good.
Yeah.
But we didn't care. That's funny. So okay. I grew up like making. Not grew up, I guess. When I left the house, my mom gave me like 5 recipes. It was like macaroni and cheese, grilled cheese, tomato soup, like fried an egg, how to boil an egg. Like I got the basics. But I think people are probably starting to cook different things or cook for the first time ever because their favorite restaurant is closed or it's harder to get, so let's talk about some things you've been making that you would recommend. I don't know. Like what's is there easy things? Is nothing easy? Is this all harder than it seems? What's the truth?
Well, I feel like it's I mean the amount of cooking that I've done, just home cooking over the years, I can throw together certain things without having a recipe. Just mainly like a salad or, really easy stuff like salads or sandwiches, sometimes a soup, depending on what I have. But aside from that, I feel like it's really about getting a good recipe, which to me is a skill, of a home cook as well. Like reading a recipe and being like, okay, that sounds like way too much work. Or reading it and being like, okay, there's some instructions missing, like that doesn't sound like, I feel like that's one thing now about how people can publish their own recipes on, websites like allrecipes.com or just all over the place. And sometimes you look at them and it's just like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like the way that they've written it or something, the way that they've written instructions. So
it's probably like the lyrics being wrong on Google constantly.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
Thought I meant this, but I did. Yeah. My wife actually does that all the time with recipes. She makes tons of stuff and she'll just change things when it seems like too much, or she'll switch out an ingredient sometimes and just try it. But she's, in my opinion, it's always amazing. So it's good. So usually a lot of recipes, especially like American style recipes, have really like they have a lot of something, and it's like overbearing sometimes. And I personally don't like that usually. I like it to be like flavors to be more subtle. But that's just me anyway. But yeah, that sounds like a skill that would take time.
Yeah, I guess that's the downside, is that if you've never cooked before, if you're just now, if you've never cooked and you're just starting to cook, then it's just trial and error, and you start to, it's practice just like anything else in life.
Have you ever used apple cider vinegar in any of your like chocolate chip cookies or like that style of cookie?
I don't think I've ever, no, not in cookies.
I'll try to find, if you're into like chewy cookies rather than, or like soft cookies rather than
definitely
hard, apple cider vinegar is like a magic ingredient that Holly knows about. And she was like, I know she doesn't mind people telling because she put it on her stories. Like, I made these with, apple cider vinegar and.
I'd love to know more about that.
I've
I've used it in some cakes and stuff before, but not in cookies.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like you can also just put it in like a tea if you're feeling under the weather. Kind of it's one of those old timey cure-all elixirs. But okay. Here's another topic: nails. So how are you? You like to do your own nails, mani-pedis?
Yes, I do. I really enjoy using my nails as. I haven't always. I've always. Let's see. I guess over the last few years, I've kind of accumulated a variety of tools to do fancy stuff on my own nails, and I like to think of them like little canvases. And it's fun because it's temporary. And Yeah, it's just kind of another random creative outlet that I have.
It's similar to like people getting into coloring.
Yeah.
Adult coloring, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of zen. Gets you in that zen state.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
So have we talked about any kind of like meditation or anything before?
I can't remember. Maybe, but
have you ever tried it?
I have tried it. I feel like I need more practice. I haven't done it regularly enough to actually get it.
I fall asleep when I do it usually.
Yeah.
Which is failure, but at the same time, like I'm doing it usually at night, and it's kind of, to me, perfect. It's like, okay, good, I'm asleep.
Yeah, to relax you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I guess, there's different things you can get out of it and all that. But yeah, something like that though. But I feel like you doing your nails probably gives you a very similar thing to meditation.
Yeah.
Benefits as far as like what your benefits are. I think cooking can do the same thing. It gets your mind off. Usually when you're cooking, you're probably not thinking about COVID. You're not thinking about all 35 covers you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, these kind of activities that sort of take your mind off things. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because music is work, but it's also so much fun, and it's what I want to be doing. Does it go back and forth for you, or is it always, you always feel like lucky to be doing what you're doing, or?
Well, I mean, I definitely always feel lucky to be doing what I'm doing, but sometimes it is hard for me to get into it, which it does go back and forth. For me, it's almost like a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times it is kind of like exercising, where I if I'm not feeling it, it's hard to get into it. No, that's not true. If I'm not feeling it, it's hard to get started. And then once I get started, I'm like, yeah, this is great.
I'm exactly like that. Exactly. I think it's like what we usually don't have, and I do sometimes, actually I do have, is like we need people to like help us along the way. And it's not always like telling you what to do. It's just being like this is what I'm doing. This is what you could do.
Yeah.
I guess that's why people probably listen to podcasts and watch people with motivational type, programming or whatever they're doing, putting videos out or whatever. But it is hard to get started. That's with anything and anybody, I think.
Yeah.
But when you said it was like a workout, that is so true. Like the more you do it, the easier it is. It's like songwriting or anything like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So when you're working on your Patreon, you got 35 covers. Sorry, have you already done it, or are you still working on it?
Oh, I'm still working on them, but I've got most of them done.
What are some of your favorite ones that you did?
What's really awesome about it is that every cover that I do is so fun, and I don't know how it's going to be when I start. Like there's some that I'm like, ooh, this will be a fun one. Like I got to do 99 Red Balloons.
Oh, okay.
And that was fun. Nice. But there are a lot of songs that have been requested that I don't know. And I go to approach them, and I'm questioning it the whole time, and then I start really enjoying myself or learning something, or there's a lot of positive stuff has come out of that for me. One that really stands out for me was I was asked to do a Slater-Kinney cover, which is a band that I just have never gotten into, like ever. Their music has never been my style. Like I understand why people like them. I don't hate them or anything, but I just have never liked them. And so I was like, oh, great. I am going to cover this Slater-Kinney song, and I basically turned it into like a slow, like a dramatic Lana Del Rey song, and it was so fun, and it came out. I really liked how it came out. So it was really I don't know, it was interesting to be like have an assignment to record a cover that I never would have covered. Mm-hmm. and to have it come out in a way that I liked was pretty cool.
That's interesting. When you go to do a cover for something you don't really know, do you just start working on it, or do you listen to it for a while? Like how long are you immersing yourself in this song?
Yeah, I listen to it, but try not to listen to it too much because I don't want to try and usually I don't want to try and recreate. I did another fun one was I got to do Cherry Bomb by the Runaways, and that was fun. And that one I specifically decided I want to try to digitally, I mean, it's going to sound not great, but I'm going to try to sound like a real band, electronically.
Okay. Yeah.
But for the most part, I just try and listen to a song enough to grasp. Like if it's one that I don't know, I try to listen through it enough to just, get the chords and get the melody memorized and that kind of stuff. And also usually I kind of look at my list and see what I have left, each month when I'm deciding what song I'm going to cover next. I go with whatever I have an idea for on a direction. So sometimes I might take a song and turn it into just an acoustic piano cover. And sometimes I might say, oh, this is like a straight up pop song. I'm going to make it into like an 80s version of this, song. Or so if I have an approach for it, then I kind of go with that. And
that's cool.
Yeah, just try and sort of shape it differently or not differently.
Yeah, and when you're doing that many, you're like, well, there's a lot. I'll be able to kind of try all my ideas at some point. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I've done some stuff that I would like to do more stuff that's got some orchestra going on. I did a Nightwish cover that I added timpanis, and it was mostly orchestra instruments, which was super fun.
That's cool. Have you heard that new Fiona Apple record?
I haven't. I've been recommended. I've had the suggestion of listening to it. I haven't got around to it
Like
yet.
if you had to cover one of those songs, it'd be like, okay.
Why are they all orchestra or?
No, they're not. I couldn't really get through the whole record, to be honest. I listened to a couple songs. It's not my thing. It is not my thing. But I'm a pop guy.
Yeah,
there's no structure to it, and I'm just like.
It's kind of like some of Bjork's later records. Have you heard some
I
of her
couldn't
stuff?
tell you what the newer Bjork stuff sounds like, but
probably at a
sounds
certain
like
point you were like, no.
Internet. It's like
Dial-up
internet to my ears. It's not that bad,
That's
but
awesome.
Oh my God.
I'll for sure have to check it out now.
People either love it or hate it. I think I don't hate it. It's not like I think it's bad. Like it's just not my cup of tea. It's not my bag, baby.
Yeah. So, that's how I feel about Slater-Kinney.
Exactly. Yeah, that's same parallel there. And whatever, I don't say that to like diss her record because she's probably really proud of it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
She doesn't care what I say anyway. Pitchfork gave it like 10 stars or something. I don't know. But, so what else on your Patreon? So what's aside from the covers thing? Obviously, what else do you or are you going to be working on it or get people excited about it?
Yeah, So, this is funny. At one tier, you get a song I found these old demo tapes from my first two bands that were like my pop punk bands from before Tsunami Bomb.
Before.
Yeah. So every month I've been releasing a stream of one of those songs. And yeah, so I'm already all the way through the first band, and the second band, I finished the demo tape, but now I'm onto some live tapes, and there's actually a cover of, we did a cover of an MXPX cover of Summer of '69 on
Nice.
there. Yeah, I should send it to you.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
It's so funny. So yeah,
so you copied my out of tune vocals. Then is that what you're
yes.
saying?
Yeah, it's so funny. At the end, I'm like, "Summer of '69." I do it exactly like you.
That's great.
Yeah,
You could just use that as one of your covers, like for this Patreon.
I know.
For the 35 songs.
Somebody please request
Yeah.
Summer '69 by MXPX. I'll send it to you.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, so I've been releasing one of those every month, and it's really, I mean, I'm kind of over it now, but at first it was mortifying to be putting those out in the world because they're so I mean, the first band was from when I was in high school, which, I mean, I don't know how you feel about that since your stuff is just out there and has been.
I feel terrible about it. No. There's older stuff that's not out there that's it's MXPX, but it's like as I was songwriting before the band existed. I've got like demo tapes that I made. I used like a keyboard drum I used a 4-track I recorded to at one point, a bunch of stuff, and I was in like a high school class where it was independent music studies, so you could just do whatever you wanted. So I just wrote
that's
songs.
Cool.
And this was when MXPX existed, actually, when I was in high school doing that. But I was doing demos, and I didn't realize that you had to sing loud or sing exactly like you wanted it to sound. I thought if you just sang quiet, you just turn it up and it sounds loud. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize the attitude matters.
Yeah.
And so all my demos are like me singing like, "Hello, I'm here," whatever. Yeah, so it's so bad. So at least you screamed on yours or sang loud.
Well, I mean, it's really, my voice is really, really different from those first demos. I mean, not quite like that, not quite like I'm singing super soft, but I had basically it was like my voice was a blank canvas, so I didn't really do anything with it. It's really interesting.
Right.
And
that's got to be weird to hear.
Yeah.
Was it always weird to hear yourself recorded back in your ears?
Oh yeah.
Or,
I mean, I'm used to it now.
Yeah, now I'm.
But yeah, then it was like, awful.
I remember the first few times we were recording, they would play the vocal, like we'd record, like have everything, and the engineer or producer would be like soloing just the lead
Oh yeah,
vocal
it's
and
painful.
Like, no. But now I don't even pay attention to that. It's like, it's whatever. We're in a recording studio. We're there to do a job. But it's funny how those attitudes change. It's like,
yeah,
but
it's like, yeah. I remember that feeling too. Just like, it's the worst thing in the world to have a studio of people there and then the engineer solos your vocal.
This is probably mean to say, but I feel like it's kind of funny when an adult, somebody I know, like a friend or even my wife or somebody, can't stand to hear their voice back. Because they're not used to it or something.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
It's like a kid
oh,
thing.
you.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. You know that it just sounds weird in your ears.
Yeah.
You're not used to hearing it. Yeah. What is it about that? It's like the vibrations in your own voice make your own voice sound different to you than it does in real life. And it's never as good in real life, is it?
No. No. Not unless you're in the shower, I guess.
No, the shower, you're right. You're right. So are you, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but with all the projects you're working on, do you write new songs now and again here and there? Do you have to set actual time or? So
since we last talked, because we talked about on the podcast, we talked about songwriting a lot, and so yeah, I've now just within the last few months or so, I've got a new system going that I think is working. So far, it seems to be working really well. Where because I have all these obligations with Patreon, which I love and is awesome, and I appreciate doing that and having that. So I spend the first 2 weeks of the month songwriting, and the second 2 weeks getting everything ready for Patreon for the next month, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. That's great.
So yeah, and it's been going really awesome. I took a class in January. I probably mentioned it to you when we played that show, but I took an online class in January that was for electronic music production and songwriting. And it was it was a month long, and it was really intensive and very time consuming. But in the end, I came out of it with with 2 instrumental, like electronic songs that I could do something with or expand on. And then a third song that is a full, like an actual vocals, lyrics, complete song. And it's, it's in demo form right now, but I actually have one song completely done, and I have, more pieces that they're all in various stages, but I've been decently writing and feeling good about it. Of course, I would like to be able to do more and do it faster still and better, but I am feeling good about it. I actually have some material, so that's a big thing for me.
That's excellent. So, did you also learn some technical stuff in that class, or was it like, did you get better at any of the programs you were using, or? Yeah, for sure. I use Ableton Live, and that was the program that the instructor was using too. I was hoping to learn more about how to use Ableton, but he mainly, it was for production, and it was kind of like you can do this with any workstation. So I did learn a lot of great stuff from that, but I wanted to learn more. So one of my patrons recommended, because I was talking about that on my live stream, which is, I do a once a month live stream for my Patreon as well. Okay.
And one of my patrons recommended there's a free online class, for Ableton, through Berklee School of Music. So I am taking that right now, and I've already learned so much, because everything I know about it, I taught myself. So there's a lot of holes. And a lot of times when I'm recording, I'm thinking to myself, there has to be a better way to do this.
Oh my God.
And
that's my life. I just don't have time to take any classes, but.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to. I've learned, I mean, there's some stuff that I'm like, yeah, I know how to do that. And then I get to sections that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I did not know anything about this, and a whole new world just opened up to me. So, I mean, I think things like that are also helping me with the writing and feeling more excited about doing more writing and just getting into it.
That's powerful. I mean, yeah, that's huge. And what you were talking about, with just online classes and with Ableton, wanting to know more about that, I constantly run into I mostly use YouTube, and I've talked about this on the podcast probably a bunch of times, but I just use YouTube when I need to know something, so I'll look it up. Oh, power just went back on. Awesome.
Oh, nice.
It's all bright in here. So basically, I'll just type in something, but something I found is people gloss over, almost always, they'll gloss over what I'm actually looking for. So I'm just like, that one little detail, that's what I need to know. Yet they assume you know all the nitty gritty, but I don't need to know the easy stuff. I need to know the nitty gritty. That's what I only know, I guess I know the nitty gritty when it comes to what I do. The bandwidth that I'm working with, which is my kind of songs and singing and, a podcast here and there. But you always end up getting a little outside of that here and there, and they just don't talk about it on YouTube channels. Yeah. Most of the time. And that's probably a human thing where it's harder to include that, and the video would be an hour long or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to skim it and try and find just that one little thing that you need. I definitely use YouTube as well for issues, but
Yeah. It's
This
not.
seems like the responsible way to go, though, like an actual class.
Well, it took me long enough, you know?
Yeah. Is it, for me, a lot of it is a lack of commitment. I don't want to commit to doing a class. And then, like, I've signed up for a class before and then just not done it. You know, like, oh, they want a credit card or they want this. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. The two classes, like, so the one class that I took that was really time intensive was a paid class, and I think because I paid that much for it, I is why one reason why I did stick with it. You know, I was like,
Absolutely.
okay, it is a commitment. It's an actual like this is like furthering my career type investment almost. And then, but it was like, okay, that's great. I did that. I don't know if I want to do that again because it was so much work and so time consuming. But so this free class is basically like a video series just by one instructor, and you could, if you want to, you can pay and you can take tests and submit your work for peer review and that kind of stuff. Which is what happened in that other class. But I didn't want to do that again. So I'm just learning through the videos. And I think because it's set up to be one entire, as opposed to YouTube videos where somebody's like, you know what, I'm going to do a video on sidechain compression or something. This is it's a bunch of videos from the same person, but all outlining the entire program. So I think just the structure of it and the way that, like the intention of it really helps make it valuable for me to just watch the videos. And, I have Ableton open while I'm watching them so I can try the stuff that she's doing on screen. I just try it, at the same time and mess with it. And it's working out. It's kind of great that both styles of class so far have really helped me learn a lot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's way different than what I'm doing, which is basically putting a Band-Aid on a situation and trying to just get through what I'm doing so I could send out what project I'm working on.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing. It's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. Yeah, I mean, that's life. I think that's life.
Yeah.
I mean, life is annoying. No, but that's what we do. We have a job to do, a project we're working on, and like you kind of just fiddle with whatever until you get it right, unless you already have the tools like a responsible person. So you're just doing it the right way in some aspects now with the online classes. I think honestly, you're not going to ever be bummed you put in that time and you put in that work to learn a little bit more about, how to produce the songs that you write,
Yeah. Some
the world's
stuff
ever changing.
Yeah. There's definitely some stuff in that first class that I just didn't even want to get into, like mastering. I was just like, I can't. I doubt that watching a 30-minute video that I'm going to be able to just start mastering. And I don't really want to. So he kind of lost me there.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're kind of just like, I've taken in so much information. This isn't going to help me. This might help me like 0.5%.
Yeah.
I know how to master, but not really, not even really. I've mastered records before, but at one point I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not somebody that's like studied how to do this. I literally am a DIY engineer, audio engineer / producer / whatever, So I guess I've done kind of everything. I've made music videos and, just like you've done all these things. And you're like, okay, I'm going to draw the line at mastering.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. Basically, you're just making it sound uniform. And as long as you know what it is, you're good.
Yeah, I'm all right with just sending it to somebody to master. Hey, I'll send my stuff to you.
There you go. Send it to me. Send it to me for the critique. No, don't send it. Don't send it to me. But that's the thing is every little thing takes up time. Do do you have your text messages coming in like when you're recording something, or do you make sure that you like have your phone on do not disturb, or is there anything like that you've even thought about?
You mean just like what kind of recording techniques like that?
Well, I was saying like as far as like throughout your day, do you have people texting you and bothering you while you're trying to work? Not necessarily just record, but like if you're doing a recording, you can't mess up, or you know. So that's what I'm saying. Like I've actually gotten interrupted by my kids during a take that was gonna be the take, and most of my takes I do live when I do acoustic recordings. You know, so it's like if I screw it up, I'm starting over. There's no click. It's just that's it.
Yeah.
Does that ever come into play when you're working? Do people bother you, or you fix it?
You know, I haven't. I haven't thought recently about, you know, just like shutting off my texts and stuff while I'm working on music. I definitely, if I'm recording, I turn off my. You know, a lot of times I don't even have my phone in the same room if I'm recording, and I often turn off my Wi-Fi on my computer as well, because as you and I have discussed in the past, I have some issues with my setup. I still don't know exactly what it is, and so I just kind of try to eliminate all of the potential problems, you know, with digital distortion and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I probably could have less distractions while I'm writing and working on music, if I put my phone away.
Yeah, I pretty much have all of, like, I don't have anybody ring through my phone. Like I can see when people are calling me, but it won't ring ever. It won't vibrate. And same with text messages. It'll just show up, but it won't vibrate or ring. And that's, I've found I still get messages when I get them. They're just not necessarily like that second, but sometimes they are, because I do look at my phone quite a lot, probably too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that alone has made my workflow just so insane. And you can put, like, if there's an emergency number, like your spouse or somebody like that your boss, I don't know, somebody that has to get through to you, but we don't have bosses. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it really has changed my life in such a simple way. But I feel a little less dependent on the phone. And my phone broke a couple weeks ago, and it was just turning off like constantly. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I got to get a new phone before the next live stream for sure. You know, and so I had a week to do it, and I got it. And there was about 3 days where I didn't have a phone. And I had the busted phone that would turn on and off. So now and again, I could get it to work for a second, but I couldn't really ever like talk to anybody or text people or, you know, and I had my laptop, of course, but I felt like, okay, this is a good exercise. This is good for me to be away from that device for a while, you know, because we get so attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I actually have been thinking lately about taking another break from social media, because it does distract me a lot.
Yeah, I'll go to like post something, like or even I'll just go, like, I got to look somebody up to check out a guest for the podcast or something like that, and I'll get right onto Instagram, and then I'll see a post and I'll like it, and then I'll start scrolling, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? No,
it's so hard.
Back. Just brainless, you know.
It's so hard to control.
Oh, it is. It really is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, do you want to talk about the future, the school? I know you don't have kids necessarily, but you're a citizen of this world. Like, what do you think kids are going to be learning now? It's all online classes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but getting out into the world is definitely important. Not just getting out into the world through your screen. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion, just because I've seen it all, and I realize how cool it really is in person. But what's the future like, you think?
Oh man, I mean, for me, this is when I think about that, I think that I am glad I don't have kids to worry about.
Right.
for the future, you know, like, cause I really, I don't know. I mean, I would hope that in the not too far future that kids will be able to go back to school. I'm not sure if you're talking about short term like that, like because of the virus, or just screens in general and the way that that has taken over everything in life.
Yeah, I guess you know, I didn't really know what I meant, but I meant more broadly. But
okay,
and
yeah.
I don't want to say that screens are bad, because screens are great.
Yeah,
I think it just depends on what it is, but it's also real. I mean, screens are real life, but outdoor activities are great too.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I guess to put a more of a frame on it, is there something? Okay, we have the internet, so it's not like we can't learn about mortgages and we can't learn about everyday things that we don't currently get to learn in high school and in school in general, life things. So I guess my question is, what should kids be learning? What should we be learning? If we can learn anything, what's most important to you?
Well, I feel like you already mentioned it earlier, and it's seeing the world. That sounds really naive, but I feel like my wish for kids and for people in general is to just see what's happening in different places. Even like growing up in a small town in California, there are people who never left the town and never wanted to leave. People who, you know, didn't really care to see anything outside of our town, which to me is like, just seems so, I don't want to say unhealthy, but it keeps your horizon small, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
seems like nowadays it might be even harder for people to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully that will change before too long. But I feel like even just, you know, I don't know. I guess that's not so much education, as it is maybe just family life or family, you know, whatever values your family has. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess what you are asking reminded me of sometimes when I daydream about what I would do if I, you know, won the lottery or something like that. I think, you know, sometimes, I don't know if you ever daydream about that kind of stuff, but, you know, I think what kind of a nonprofit would I start? You know, if I could start a nonprofit, what would it be? And one of the things I think of is doing more programs where kids can travel and, you know, like basically paying for kids to see other parts of the world and even parts of their own state, and just that things are different everywhere, but that we're all people, you know, like everywhere you go, things are different and the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. That's interesting. Yeah, what kind of nonprofit would you start with? That's cool. Kids traveling. I think, you know, I traveled a little bit when I was a kid, but only to California, and I was a teenager the first time I went to Mexico. In Canada, I think I went to a hockey game in Canada when I was a kid. You know, so
that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, like maybe that's what brought me to touring, but I like that though.
Yeah, and just making sure that kids get to. I don't even know if kids still go on field trips or anything.
That's not going to happen for a while.
Well, no, I mean, I guess not nowadays, but before the virus, I don't know if kids were going on field trips or not.
I'm sure they were somewhere. I don't know. Probably somewhere, Iowa. If you want to know what when I was daydreaming as a kid about, you know, someday I'm going to win the lottery, I would draw diagrams of the house that I would buy, but it was like architectural drawings. So
oh, wow.
It would have like, and I don't mean to say technically architectural, but they looked like architect drawings. So it was like a square box.
Like from the top?
Yeah, from the top, but all the
like a
rooms
blueprint kind of, yeah.
and the doors that would sweep in and out. And I had all these bathrooms, and I had like a tennis court, and I had a pool with a balcony, and you could jump from the balcony on into the pool.
Nice.
And so so that's what I do with my wandering mind, free time.
As a kid.
As a kid, I haven't drawn one of those in a while. So there's no pool here. Well, there is. It's a tiny little kid pool. But yeah, I mean, I guess I was just thinking about how some of us are alone, some of us have teams, and it's really I'm very lucky and to have a team, to help me do what I do, whether it's Tom and Yuri, the band, Chris, and or the guys behind the scenes. I've got, a bunch of people doing various things, and it's been insane, and if you look at like somebody like The Rock, and you're like, how is that guy doing a TV show now, a movie now? He just finished Ballers. Like he's doing an insane amount. It's because the guy's got a team, and I love him, he's great. But he somehow is figured out how to be super creative and to love life. I just wonder what the behind the scenes stuff really looks like, I mean, I don't expect it to be bad because my behind the scenes is just like me, like eating a Cheeto, so not bad, but it's just like, oh yeah, okay, he's taking a second there, but I don't know what made me think of all that, but I guess just thinking about the overall like climate that we live in and how social media is 100 miles a minute. It seems to be, but you can live in it without going crazy. Like you can do what you need to do with your Patreon and your social media posts and not be on there as long as you can save yourself from the endless scroll.
Yeah. I mean, the willpower and the self-control, I think, is the bigger issue, like, cause I have told myself a million times, like, I'm only going to go on there to post stuff, cause I need to post if I'm going to be a musician and, trying to maintain an audience, then I have to post every so often. I obviously, if you look at my my feeds and stuff, I don't really think that hard about what I'm posting. I just kind of go with it, whatever. But it's so hard for me to only post and not ever look at what's happening on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I need to, I don't know how to fix that.
The way I do it is I get drafts ready. So I'll put it in my notes. I'll like type up what I'm going to say in my notes. And that can cause problems too if you like type the wrong handle or something like that, but because it doesn't correct for you. But I'll type mainly what I'm going to write in the notes, then I'll copy paste it to Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, Facebook, because they all have to be different. You can't put the same exact handles or whatever. So I'll do that, and then you have a draft, and then that way you're not really on there. You're just like literally only on your own draft.
Yeah,
That's
you're barely
the only way
spending any time.
I found to do it, and then yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But what you were saying about taking a break, I mean, that's really the only real idea. But you can't always take a break,
No. I mean, I kind of wish I could just only schedule posts and then never look at it. But you can't really. I don't want to do that either because you don't know what's going to be relevant or whatever that day.
What do you prefer? What's your favorite social media?
Definitely Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've kind of given up on Twitter.
Twitter's great for news. It's a great news site, I feel like, or just the general outlay of the land.
Yeah.
Good to be on there, but you don't have to like worry about your reach or your follower count or whatever. It's not the same kind of thing,
Yeah.
Unless you're truly trying to be a public figure. But,
right.
you're just being you. So do you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, so, okay. So everybody should follow you. You mainly use Survival Guide
Yeah.
with no vowels. So SRVVLGD
Yep.
on Instagram. Twitter, same thing. Is it the same thing or is it a little different?
Yep. No, it's the same thing.
Same? Okay. And then Facebook. What's your thoughts on Facebook these days?
I don't like it. I still will post. I basically am kind of using Facebook as just a place for announcements, sort of. And I'm very lazy about it, and I will just post it on my personal and my Survival Guide page as well. I have more followers. I mean, I guess they're about equal, actually. My Survival Guide page and my personal account have about the same amount of people.
Okay.
So I just kind of do this usually, depending on what my post is. But usually I've been only using it for news, like my own, like I was just on this MXPX song and type news.
Yes, you were. We didn't even talk about that yet, did we?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll end with that. But Facebook is, I mean, everybody kind of like has their own thing, so you have to be on all the main
Right,
ones just because
right.
of that. What about YouTube? People can follow you on YouTube?
Yes, people
What
can
is it?
follow me on YouTube. I think that
subscribe.
one is, I think that one is just a Survival Guide. I think it's Survival Guide Music, like spelled out, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, we can put, if you want, you can send me links and I can put them on the show notes.
Oh, sure. That'd be good.
But yeah. Thanks for singing on Worries, by the way. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
no problem. Anytime. It was fun.
It came out good. It was good.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah. People were stoked.
Yeah. I like the video. You're
Yeah,
running around.
fun.
I liked the phone call in the beginning.
I almost called you, by the way, to ask you to be in the video, and I was like, I'm not going to do that to her because of the pandemic and everything. It was like right when it was pretty much the first 2-3 weeks of the pandemic when everybody was locked down.
Yeah.
Texas was just kind of starting to lock down, and that's when I went out and filmed, and I was like, this is a lot more work than I realized, and that's when I was like, I'm not going to ask her to do that.
Well, I probably would have,
I'm sure you would have. Yeah. And that's why I was like, I'm not even going to ask. But I will continue to ask you to do other things in the future, though, for sure. So, yeah, if anybody hasn't yet heard the new MXPX song, Worries, Emily sings all the harmonies. So
That was fun.
Tom and Chris are on there, too. But, you're definitely the lead harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turned out good. Cool. Well, obviously your production skills they're at par. It sounds good when you send stuff. So
They're good enough. They're good enough to go on an MXPX song.
yeah, JGE, just good enough.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. So I've used a lot of different super crazy mics and equipment, and honestly, I feel like as long as if it sounds like you and there's not too much of the room,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong. And
I think I need to get a new vocal mic. I'm pretty sure I need a new recording mic because I feel like mine is just.
what are you using right now?
You know what? I don't even know. It used to be. It used to be my brother's, like long ago. So it's old.
My brother's mic.
Yes, my brother's mic. I was initially using this Cascade mic that was also old and had like a 7-pin input. And I don't know I think maybe the cable went out and I couldn't find another cable. I don't know. I want like a vocal mic. This vocal mic can't handle when I sing really loud very well. It's like
That's
it
not
sounds,
good.
yeah, it's like it sounds all tinny and it's a classic problem for me when I go into studios, and we're testing mics a lot of times. And I mean, I think I've worked with, punk. And when I'm in a legit studio, I've been with some punk producers that mainly record male vocals. and their microphones that they usually use, they're like, oh, this one's super nice. It's going to be great. And then we try it and it's like, yeah, it sounds like just tinny kind of, especially when I sing loud.
You need the vocal mic that you use always.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is yet, but it could be,
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things. I could think of a lot of things right now. SM7 is fairly inexpensive for how great it sounds, and you can sing really loud into that. It's generally slightly quieter because it's a dynamic microphone, whereas almost every other good vocal mic is what is it? Not dynamic, but either a tube or
the cardioid. Is it that? I don't know anything about mics.
I used to know something about mics. I'm spacing out, but condenser.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't even use a condenser anymore, is why I was like spacing on it. I use a tube mic. I have a Rode K2, which has a power supply that's separate, and that's because there's a tube in the microphone, and it needs a power supply to warm it up and heat it up. So I have to I use that. The two mics you see on my live streams are K2, Rode K2 tube mics. So
That's
those are
cool.
great, by the way.
So it probably makes it nice and warm.
Yeah. It's just it's a really clean sound. It's got plenty of high end. You can scream into the thing. You can be really quiet, and it's still. Some mics, if you're too quiet, there's a lot of head noise. It doesn't do that. So yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Well, definitely hit me up if you have if you feel like it when you're going to find a new mic.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder if we would I feel like the mic that would be awesome for you wouldn't necessarily be awesome for me, because my voice is higher.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so you're thinking of what would work for me.
Yeah, you need what would work for you, not necessarily for me. But with these K2, like with a mic like a K2 or something like that, you've got Omni, you've got Figure 8, you can change all the settings, cardioid, hypercardioid. I don't know if it has hypercardioid, but it definitely has cardioid. And so you can use it not just for a vocal, you could use it for an orchestra, you could use it for like a million things because of those settings. And they change on the power supply, not on the actual mic.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. But,
yeah, I'll have to look into that. That's the Rode K2?
Yeah. Rode K2.
Cool. I'll look it up.
Cool. All right. Hey, thank you so much. Everybody can find you online, and they can find your Patreon. I'll put the link on the show notes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me on again. I'll send you all my links.
Thanks for doing it. Very cool. You brought the power back.
Yay.
All right. I'll hit you up again.
Okay. Yeah. Anytime.
Until next time. All right. Cool.
All right.
Thanks, Emily. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
We are all beautiful, yet deadly afraid. There's moments like this that I'm gonna miss when I'm dead and gone and I can't kiss my kids. Will they look up to the sky and think about me?
All right. I want to thank my guest, Emily Whitehurst. Make sure you guys go check her out online. Check out her Patreon. Check out all her socials, whatever it is you use. You can follow her on there. She's fairly active, and yeah, she's very active, and I see her posting all the time. So she definitely asks for feedback from her audience quite often, and we have a lot of mutual friends as well as we're friends. So yeah, I want her to succeed. I want her to do well, and she will be on some future MXPX, as you already know, because I love her voice on everything we do. All right, you guys, that's about it. MXPX.com for all the ways you want to find us. That's the easiest place to go to do it. But on the socials, you can find us on YouTube. Please, we've been putting out a ton of videos. MXPX on YouTube, and then also Mike Herrera video is my personal YouTube. I've been putting out a lot of videos as well. So all that stuff, all the other socials you already know, Mike Herrera TD, MXPXPX for Insta, MXPX for Twitter, all that. Thank you all so much. I just love hearing from you guys, so that's why I'd love to hear from you. All right, so next week, tune in. I'll be talking to AJ Perdomo. You may know him from his band, The Dangerous Summer. He's the singer and a fellow bass player, I might add. So we have a great conversation, and he is one of us. He's a lifer, so I really enjoyed it. All right, until next time.